their lives have been robbed. These are special people who get their lives robbed of an illness that we just haven't found the right treatments for. So when I was diagnosed out in 1978, I was 23 years old. I was in my second season with the Chargers. Our team was just getting good. We scored a lot. I was a kicker. I got to play a lot. I got to impact the game. And unfortunately, I was a kicker, not really a football player. And there's only one kicker. And so you can't say, put the sub in. If you say put the sub in, you get released from the team. And you likely never get to play again. So I kept my head down and tried to continue to play. And got sicker and sicker and sicker. And my next season, my third season, collapsed on a team plane, needed surgery. And my life changed from there. But in the process, I got exposed to the disease state of inflammatory bowel disease. And I got to meet the scientists that were committed to it. And one of them was Steph Targan. Steph Targan was the head of the scientific advisory board for what is now known as the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation, but back then was known as the NFIC, National Foundation for Ileitis and Colitis. They changed the name because nobody ever called it ileitis. Nobody knew what that was. They changed it to Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. So I've watched over the last 40 plus years the disease get more awareness, more funding go to it, some great new drugs come to market, Humira, Remicade, others. But still, I get calls every week from patients or parents of patients who are struggling. Where do they go from here? We don't have an answer with young Mason. Mason was 11, diagnosed with Crohn's disease, and ended up in Rady's Children's Hospital right in the beginning of COVID. Was in the hospital over a month. Was not allowed to be visited by his parents together because of COVID. So Michelle and Jason, who are here, literally drove their car to Rady's and slept overnight every day for a month in their car, while one went to visit to be with Mace. So he would never be alone. They would swap, take turns. Think about that for a minute. A month, you can't see your kid together. And that was the beginning of a journey. And I had the privilege of meeting Jason and Michelle and Mason, and this extraordinary young man is going to get to talk to you. So Mason, would you come up here right now and say hello to the crowd? Come on. So this is an extraordinary young man who's been already through some tremendous challenges over the last year and a half. And first of all, Mason, welcome.
Thank you.
You want to take your mask off so we can see your smiling face?
Yes.
There we go. He's a good-looking kid. A little bit of a redness on the face, but that comes with the disease, right?
Yes, that's the disease. You can't control that. But
No, you can't. So, Mason, tell me what it was like when you were first diagnosed and your mom and dad took you to the hospital and all of a sudden you're being told you have a disease you've never heard of. What was that like?
it wasn't fun.
No, it meant not.
And it was very surprising because, well, you just thought you'd be, it just seems like it's such a rare disease. And then when you realize you're diagnosed with it, you're like, oh, that's extraordinary.
So did you know you'd be in the hospital for a month?
No. Well, actually, 2 months.
2 months. Missed a month.
Yeah.
All right, so rather than ask you, so you've spent some time sort of writing a little story. So why don't you tell the gentlemen, ladies here, people committed at Prometheus, what your story and how you got here, okay?
Okay, sounds good. So
How would I hold
that sounds good. Oh, yeah, now you can really hear me. That's perfect. Okay. I did a little research to get to know everyone in here a little better. It seems we share a vision. The vision to utilize targeted medicine to improve the quality of life of people with GI and immune-mediated diseases would be a dream come true and be life-changing for kids like me and adults too.
Okay, before I go on, he was 11 when he was diagnosed. He's all of 12 right now. So stop for a moment and think back when you were 12. Allison, would you be able to do, maybe you would be able to do that. You're probably the one person that could probably do this, but thanks, Mace. Okay, here we go.
What is so special to me is that every person in this room made a choice to make a difference, to work for a company dedicated to changing lives of people they've never met. Each of you made a choice to be a hero, and for that, I wanted to say thank you. My name is Mason Harvey, and I'm 12 years old. I was diagnosed with severe Crohn's disease on June of 2020. I thought I was going to be there for overnight tests, but that one night turned into almost 2 months on the second floor at Rady Children's Hospital. Because of COVID rules, my parents were not allowed to be together at the same time with me. It was the first time we had been separated, and we did our best to stay together and remain a team in whatever way we could. My dad slept in our car at night while my mom would stay in the hospital with me. Then early in the morning around 6:30, they would switch and repeat every day. But my mom and dad never left my side.
So we talk often about the impact on the patient. It goes much deeper than that. You can imagine the impact on the family, especially a youngster like Mason, and the impact on a mother who desperately wants to fix a child, and on a father who needs to keep the family together there. And that's just the beginning. Okay, Mace.
It's especially hard when you have to have somebody going back to do laundry.
Laundry stuff in the hospital.
Grandma.
Grandpa, but before we had that worked out, it was obviously him.
Yes, it was.
Sadly, we had to have one to go.
Was he any good at doing the laundry?
Well, we have a machine, but he's got it kind of fun. Not joking, of course he is.
Did the whites turn into pink?
No.
No, okay.
Not
That way,
that
Chase.
We had no idea how sick I was when I was admitted to the hospital, and it took 9 days to receive the diagnosis of Crohn's disease. I had 5 blood transfusions, daily blood draws, IVs, a PICC line, 4 weeks of gut rest, an MRI, an MRE, CAT scans, echocardiograms, scopes, x-rays, pills, and many tests day and night.
So he listed a lot of things that happened. So fast forward, or go backwards. Back when I was diagnosed, it took longer to get diagnosed. We didn't know. And back then, sadly, because physicians really didn't have good tools to treat us, often early on, the patient was told by the physician, you just can't handle stress well. Go home and figure it out. And these poor patients would go home and go, man, I must really be screwed up because I don't know what's going on, but I got something on. And it took a long time, and the foundation was really good at changing that stigma. It was the inability of science to explain this, and the doctor's inability to give solutions that really put this disease several years back. Now, we're still not able to diagnose right away, but it doesn't take years. Like early on, many times it was years of patients struggling on their own to figure what they had. But now, certainly things are different.
Yet you're here standing and you're very strong and very handsome.
Tell my wife that.
Yes.
Okay.
Once I got home, we committed to dietary changes, a lot of pills, and so many appointments. I have been to about 73 appointments since getting home from the hospital, and more. I'm immunocompromised due to all the medications I am on, which means our family has to be very careful, stay home a lot, and social distance. When I was diagnosed, I was immediately put on Remicade infusions, a biologic I'm sure some of you have heard about. Then in December of 2020, after months of treatment, we received crushing news. My doctor said the treatment of Remicade was failing. I was devastated, and my parents were heartbroken. We knew it was a possibility since there was no guarantee that a biologic would work, and that it sometimes takes several tries. The doctor suggested Stelara, so I began that just as soon as insurance approved it.
So you can imagine, right? So you start down the road, and it works or seems to work for a while, or you have hope that it does, and then you find out it doesn't. And so now what's the next thing in the doctor's arsenal? You know?
Not to mention, once you're on a biologic, you don't want to stop it. And Remicade is one of the ones that you can't go back to because your body will create antibodies. And
He's 12. Did you know what antibody was when you were 12?
All the time in the hospital, and let's just say that. It took a while, but after a few months, I did start to feel better, and I also felt encouraged. My joint pain disappeared almost immediately, which is incredible. And then, about a month ago, received the news nobody wanted to hear. The store wasn't working as well as my doctor had hoped. She wanted me to try a different drug called Entyvio. 3 weeks ago, I began Entyvio infusions. I am now on Entyvio and Stelara, trying to dab a biologic as long as insurance will allow it. In addition to the biologics, I am still on prednisone, drinking 3 supplemental drinks a day, taking pills, and still doing enemas twice a day.
That's fun, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
Before I got sick, I loved to golf, go to Disneyland, drive RC cars, go on road trips, create animation, and visit national parks. I still do. I'm slowly getting back to the activities I enjoyed, but I know that I'm not alone in missing these things. A lot of suffering with IBD miss out on activities. What you guys are doing is giving us a chance to get back to our normal, to do the things we once loved to do, and to not be defined by IBD.
So it kind of glosses over that, but imagine a kid who's struggling, hard to find playmates to do things with. Mothers, parents get protective of their kids, and pretty soon you get isolated just because of the disease. It's really, really tough to see, especially for an active kid.
And because of companies like this one, you are changing the future of what this disease will look like for us. My parents have supported me my whole life in anything I have done, and they have encouraged me to share my story in whatever way I felt comfortable with. I really want to let others know that it is okay to talk about Crohn's. There is even some humor to be found in it at times in this disease, and I've learned to laugh with it, to lighten the mood, and help others understand my world and really listen to what I have to say. I was fortunate enough to meet Rolf Benirschke during the time I was diagnosed, and he took the time to talk to me. He explained this disease in a way that made sense. I had psychologists coming in all the time to help, but I felt like Rolf really understood what I was feeling, because he had lived it. He compared it to waves, and instead of focusing on all the waves at once, choose one wave at a time. I will never forget his kindness, because he didn't even know me, but he changed my life.
Well, thank you. You've changed my life in a big way.
I think you changed mine more, though. Well, wait. Let's see. You've
That's okay. So, one of the challenges when you get diagnosed is you're very alone. You don't know anybody else that's had it. It's a frightening diagnosis. When you Google it, it's scary. And so much of how you deal with it really is your frame of mind. Even though it's a physical condition, it's a frame of mind. And so we had these great chats, and Mason remembered a story that I had shared with him, which, because we live in San Diego and we're a surfing community, when you're a surfer, you get to stand out there sit on your board, and you wait for the wave that you want to ride, and you get to choose the wave. And you can choose the wave of anger and despair and hopelessness and why me, or you can choose the wave of hope and optimism, and you guys are the ones that are providing those waves that we get to choose.
Thank you. He helped me realize how reaching out and speaking out can help others. By raising awareness, more people will understand this disease. Awareness can lead to early recognition of symptoms and hopefully create more interest in contributing to research. I didn't know how to tell my parents about a couple of symptoms I've been having before my diagnosis because I didn't really know what they were. I was scared something was wrong. I knew they would take me to a doctor if they knew. More than anything, I didn't want something to be wrong. I just wanted to be a normal kid.
That's a really powerful thing to say, and that's the truth. So it's one thing to be 11 and 12. It's another thing to be 15, 16, 17. Now you're in high school in those awkward years, or you're in college, and now you've got diarrhea. Now it's bloody diarrhea, and you're frightened to death. You have no idea what to do or who to tell. It's a really challenging time.
I want to help other kids to know they can be open about any changes or symptoms so they can help their parents get them the help they need. I'm never giving up. As you can tell by now, I have a voice, and I'm happy to use it. I didn't have a choice when I was diagnosed with this disease, but I do have a choice in how I handle this journey. A cure and better treatments isn't just going to happen, but with the help of companies like Prometheus Biosciences, it requires support, great minds, and the drive to never stop learning and never give up on your goals.
Pretty well said. Mark, yeah. Exactly right.
And most of all, I'm excited. I can't wait to hear Prometheus Biosciences announce a new way to treat this disease. But before that happens, I know we need to be patient and trust that it will happen soon. And until that day, I will continue with my new normal, keep getting my treatments, but know that big news is just around the corner.
And it really is. No, it's so exciting. It is, yes.
I'm so grateful to each and every one of you for choosing to take action to help people like me. Even though you don't know me at all, you made me feel like my life matters and that my future matters. When I was younger, I used to give gift cards to people when I caught them doing something kind. I would attach a card that said, "You make a difference." I'm here today because your amazing CEO, Mark McKenna, gave me the opportunity to tell you thank you in person and to let you know you make a difference. You show up to work, but it isn't just a job. Your efforts as a team will save lives, change lives, and give IBD patients back their normal.
And that's why he's here. Now, you made something special for them. I want to talk about you and your mom and dad started a candle business. So talk a little about that.
Well, so we started the candle business because I thought it'd be fun to do something. And then we thought, well, why not do some good while we do it? And so we thought, well, let's donate. And we can't finally with this place. And so we just started donating to the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. So we're helping the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. And yeah.
So they make candles and sell them, and the proceeds they send to the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. Now, last year, when I learned that, I asked if he would make a candle for me and my firm that we could share with our employees and with the people that we work with, and he made a special kind of candle. Talk about it.
It's called, I forgot the name.
Scent.
Scent. It's summer, spring kickoff. California kickoff. How can I forget that? I created a scent and I forget it. See, we're not all perfect.
So he made a scent called California Kickoff. And he went to his mom and said, I think we should make it like with a pigskin smell, football. Mom said, no, probably not. But you made it with a pop. So tell us the ingredients, sir.
So it's supposed to smell like surf wax. And so it has surf wax in it. It has California poppy.
So tell them why California poppy.
Because it's the state flower and it smells beautiful.
And what you told me is the California poppy stands up against rain.
Yeah, it stands up against rain
and
wind and storms. Anything that comes at it will stand up against it. So it kind of resembles, well, IBD patients. They stand up, they're strong, they don't give up. And the California poppy was a good representation of that.
So this is what they did, you guys. They made a California Kickoff scent, and they made candles for each one of you.
And they're all over there, so you can look at them, you can smell them. But
Mark can get into how you distribute them later.
First of all, they're all handmade. No machines, no electronics, just handmade. So.
And they're in mason jars, which is appropriate for Mason. And then Mason actually created the little tag that goes with it, right?
Yes. The little stamp on the top.
You drew that,
Yeah.
you created that.
Yeah, I created the stamp. I created the drawings too. Yeah, I think that's what you meant.
That's what
I
meant.
did the drawings on the tops.
Yeah. So in a minute, I'm going to ask you to ask some questions. But before I do that, we were talking about the power you have, and your mom actually called it a superpower.
Yes.
So what do you think your superpower is?
Being a kid, having good parents, and most of all, having a voice, because most kids are nervous and scared, and I can understand that, but I want to let other people know that I want other people to understand how you feel when you have Crohn's or anything, and you can speak out. You can, no matter how old you are, you should just speak, and you will feel good about it, and other people will understand. So most of all, my superpower is being a kid, having great parents, and having a voice.
Having a platform to do it, and he's 12 years old, and he spoke at the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. It was stunning. You can hear the passion, and the story is just so incredibly powerful. So, Mace, let me thank you again for sharing today. It was really very special. So, Michelle's got teary eyes, but I want Michelle to at least turn around and wave to everybody. This is Mom, and this is Dad, Jason. Any IBD patient will tell you they don't do this journey alone, and if they're lucky enough to have parents like Michelle and Jason, they're truly lucky.
Yes.
But it makes it hard. It makes it really hard. So here's what I'd like to do. I don't want to take too much more time because I know you've got a kind of a busy day, but I have 4 books here. So I wrote a book called Alive and Kicking, which is kind of my story that I've autographed. So I'd love to give these out to the first 4 people that have a question that they'd either like to ask Mason or Jason or Michelle. So no shy, no questions not appropriate. This is a very tender time for you to hear from someone that is living the disease you are working so hard to cure. What you do is extraordinary, and you give hope to patients like Mason. So a question from anybody.
All right, good. I'm going to pass this back. Okay, that's awesome.
So he's deep into RC card. I didn't know what they were either. There you go. You bet.
I can do a speech on what they are.
Yeah, another time, I think. Okay, what other questions? Mom and Dad, anybody? Come on, they've got 2 more books.
Deanna?
Yes, Deanna.
Thank you for both of you sharing your stories. They were really inspiring. Thank you for that. I have a few questions. The first is, have you been able to go back to school at all? I assume you've missed a lot of it.
So what's very special is that my mom is my teacher. I'm homeschooled, and it's been like that since the very beginning, and it's very helpful. She's probably, to me, one of the greatest teachers in the world, and
Absolutely.
she's very understanding of my disease, which makes it easier to do it at home because it's not like you're going out in school and you have to keep running back and forth from the classroom to the bathroom. You can't just do that. And it's very hard when you're in the more flared zone of it. Because I'm doing really well right now. I'm almost to remission. A year ago, I wasn't like that. I was running back and forth maybe every 30 minutes. And you can't do that in school. So I'm very thankful for having my mom as my teacher and being homeschooled. So.
It was actually the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation and a bunch of patients that got together and started in Texas. We had a law passed. I want to say it's Abby's Law or something like that, where teachers had to let their patients, their students, go to the bathroom quickly because of this disease. And it was then copied around the country with different states. But it took a young girl with the courage that Mason has to actually challenge the situation and get teachers to understand the challenge these kids go through. Get another question.
It's actually following up on your comment. I know some states have passed laws to allow vaccine access cards. So if patients go into could have emergency use of the backbone, for example. And I hear that that's used by a lot of patients. I don't know if that's available in California.
Well, it's useful for sure, but you could still imagine the kid that's always redeeming that with the teacher, right? Very difficult. Well, I can tell I can. And the immunocompromisation question you ask is actually very real for these kids. So the Crohn's and Colitis event that Mason spoke at about 3 weeks ago or a month was the first time he was out in a year and a half?
Yeah.
A year and a half, literally, first time he was out. So a lot of anxiousness, everybody's masked up. He was incredible. It's the same. It just doesn't, you don't go out. And so I want to thank both Michelle and Jason and Mace for coming here today, and appreciate you masking up. I know it's sometimes frustrating, but this is too important for him. He didn't want to not do this. Now, when he was at the CCF event, he was actually just in a flare. Still wanted to do it. Now he's feeling better, and so he's excited to come out here. But that's the life of these patients, and that's what you get to solve. So I want to just thank you. Mason, I brought you a little gift that I'm going to take no credit for, but I want you to open this.
Right now?
Right now. All right?
Okay.
All right, so I have an extraordinary assistant who, you know Patty, and Michelle certainly knows Patty. And so she got this for you. So go ahead and open that while I'm talking to you. Just rip it open.
Okay.
However you want to do it. There you go.
That's yours.
Okay, so there's a little card. I guess you wrote a card in there. We wrote a card. Okay.
Mason, I have trouble reading cursive.
Okay.
I'm sorry about that.
That's okay. Oh, that's right.
It's fine.
Mason, we thought you might enjoy cuddling up with this. Merry Christmas, Rolf and Patty, okay? So
Oh. Can you believe this? You love goldfish, and I
Take
love
it out.
goldfish, but what?
That's awesome. That's awesome.
you love goldfish.
Yes. And I love stuffed animals. You kind of hit this. There's even.
Goldfish in it.
Yes.
Baby goldfish in it.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
So Patty will be happy that you like it. She tracked that down. I don't know where she finds it or anything, but she does. So, listen, I want to thank you again for allowing us to come and share Mason's story. I'd love a hand for Michelle and Jason and Mason. We'd love to encourage you to keep at it. Mark, Allison, the team, what you're doing is special, as you know, and hopefully now it's more personal as you head to the holidays and think about the new year. So thank you again.
So I made some buttons. We made them ourselves. And there's a limited amount, so I don't know if all of you will be able to get one. If you want to get one, just ask and I'll come over and give you one.
Or they can just take one.
Or you can take one. But it says you make a difference on it. All of them are different. They're all handwritten. I wrote them. And if you're having a bad day, you can look down at it and it says you make a difference, and you can remember that you do make a difference, and you'll feel better, I hope.
Yes, they will. Thank you very much. Okay.
Goldfish on.
Yeah.